Donte Divincenzo once out of Minnesota, it appears, and the New York Knicks have a chance to pull off the biggest heist of all time, just 50 some odd days after trading Divincenzo away as part of the deal for Karl-Anthony Towns. And with the Knicks having the chance to do the funniest thing ever, we had to talk about it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as always, because Donte Divincenzo is being viewed as a possible trade candidate to several contending teams around the league, per Brett Sigel. Now, here's the deal. The New York Knicks, I hear some of you saying, well, the New York Knicks can't trade for Donte Divincenzo. They just traded him away, and they can't trade him back for another year until this summer. Wrong. That is incorrect. The New York Knicks can find a loophole to do it, and I plan on explaining how, along with going into all the noise about a potential Donte Divincenzo trade. Now, let me just go ahead and say right now, I do think that Donte Divincenzo is going to get traded. I do think that Donte Divincenzo is going to get traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are in need for a player just like Donte Divincenzo. They have a bunch of contracts to make it work, including the one of D'Angelo Russell on a one-year expiring deal, where the Timberwolves can get some money freed up, which helps for them because they are trying to free up cap space. It's one of the reasons why they traded Karl-Anthony Towns in the first place. Why they traded him instead of Jaden McDaniels will forever be beyond me, probably because the Minnesota Timberwolves, no matter what happens, if something goes right for that team, they always will find a way to screw it up. It's what they've done for as long as I've been alive. The Timberwolves have something go right. They have another thing go right. They have several first overall picks, and all of them seem to pan out in different ways. It's a massive disappointment. Whether it's Kevin Garnett getting no help, whether it's Anthony Edwards getting help in the form of Karl-Anthony Towns, we're skipping too far ahead. Whether it's Kevin Garnett getting help or the Timberwolves acquiring Anthony Bennett and Andrew Wiggins in back-to-back first overall picks from the Cleveland Cavaliers, because only the Cavs or the Timberwolves are allowed to pick first overall. They somehow managed to screw it up. Well, and Anthony Bennett was just a terrible first overall pick. He was supposed to go around 7th. The Cavs picked him for some weird reason. Bill Simmons classically yelled, "Whoa!" And then, obviously, he was terrible, and then Andrew Wiggins comes in. Wiggins looks good for a year of Minnesota after he's instantly traded for Kevin Love, but obviously things go poorly. The Timberwolves somehow managed to get the first overall pick again, Karl-Anthony Towns. The Timberwolves looked good after a while, getting Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler called Cat soft, left the team. Timberwolves back in the dumps. Well, they get the first overall pick again in Anthony Edwards, and what happens? The team looks beautiful. They spend a lot of money. They trade for Rudy Gobert. Things look great. And they trade away Karl-Anthony Towns for Julius Randle and Donte Divincenzo. And it has proved to be a nightmare for Minnesota. Now, if you watched Knicks Digest Happy Hour episode 8 that Matt was unfortunately out for, but me and Darielle had a great time talking about it for an hour. Look, it's just the Timberwolves managed to screw everything up. As long as I've been alive, they have managed to screw it all up. And also make sure to subscribe to the channel. 28% of viewers are subscribed, exactly 28.5. Join the cool side of the subscribers. But guys, let's jump into exactly what Brett Sigel had to say. Now, Donte Divincenzo is being viewed as a possible trade candidate for several contending teams around the league. While the Timberwolves value DiVincenzo's skills, the 27-year-old combo guard was not thrilled with the idea of coming off the bench after being traded for a second-apron team like Minnesota. Moving forward, or moving DiVincenzo could help create a little bit of flexibility in a path to moving out of the second apron next offseason. Right now, there are no indications that the Timberwolves will want to move their newly acquired guard. Now, Divincenzo, I mean, we know he's a great player, but not in Minnesota so far. He's averaging 9.5 points per game and 3 rebounds and 3 assists, way down from the 15.5. But the real kicker is instead of shooting 40% from 3, he's shooting 32.4% from 3 and 35% from the field while shooting 21% on corner threes. Most of his shots are threes, and they're not falling down. Now, he is a good defender, so he has that going for him. And we know DiVincenzo's a solid player, but he's not really happy to be in Minnesota. That's evidently clear. He is close to family, which makes it weird that he's not playing better. He said that was one of his big things, and he almost went to Minnesota before he ended up going to the New York Knicks. Now, we know that Donte Divincenzo and the Minnesota Timberwolves are not having a great marriage to start. And look, frankly, this trade seems like it was just an absolutely terrible idea in the first place. Almost as terrible as this YouTube video that I made saying the Knicks got robbed. The Knicks absolutely did not get robbed. I was dead wrong. The New York Knicks did the robbing. I mean, frankly, you got a guy who looks like an all-star starter, and you gave up Julius Randle, who Well, Timberwolves fans are getting the Julius Randle experience. He's looking real good on some days, but they're not loving the lack of defensive effort right now that I, to this day, will defend because how good of an offensive player he is. But, oh, they're shocked that a guy who's an interior scorer isn't working out well with Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. Who could have guessed that if you trade a guy who shoots 50% from three this season is a way better fit with Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert than a guy who doesn't shoot 30% from three? Great call, Minnesota. Y'all forever are the dumbest franchise I have ever seen. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they missed the playoffs for, 13 straight years, probably because they're a stupid franchise, and no matter if your ownership changes or your GM changes, it doesn't matter. The remnants of David Kahn, ever since he entered that building, has never left, because everything the Timberwolves do is a great thing, and then they screw it all up. Like Mike Ehrmantraut said in Breaking Bad, we had a good thing, and you and your pride, you screwed it all up, or whatever the line is. I don't know. I can't do a Mike Ehrmantraut voice. I can't do a Jonathan Banks voice, because Jonathan Banks is way cooler than I will ever be, and that's just the life that I live, and that's okay with me, because if you don't like Jonathan Banks, I don't know what to tell you. The guy's a man. He's just the legend. But look, Donte Divincenzo has unfortunately not had a great start with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I do think that he'll probably turn it around, whether it's with Minnesota or not. But he clearly wants to be a starter. After averaging 15.5 points per game and shooting 40% from the field and 40.01% from three with the New York Knicks, making the most threes in a single season in New York Knicks history, he's now getting traded to where he's relegated to the bench. The same thing that was going to happen with the Knicks, but he would have been the leading guy off the bench. He would have had a lot of chances to score and work with the ball still, and he'd be playing with some of his best friends in Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart. Now, there are reports that he wasn't as excited for the Nova Knicks thing as everyone else, which probably is a bit true, as Divincenzo wanted to start. It's evidently clear. But he also was excited to do the Nova Knicks, according to Ian Begley. So it makes you think that, okay, maybe this was overblown. Divincenzo was happy to stay with the Knicks, then got moved because the Timberwolves have had prolonged interest in Donte Divincenzo since last offseason, not the one that happened the one before that, since the offseason of 2023, when the New York Knicks signed Donte Divincenzo, which started the Mikal Bridges to the Knicks rumors. Little did Divincenzo know he'd be getting moved in order for the Knicks to have the team that they always wanted. Now, the Knicks didn't want to move Divincenzo. On draft night, they tried to trade Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle along with a first-round pick for Karl Anthony Towns. Minnesota Timberwolves said no because they had no use for Mitchell Robinson having Rudy Gobert, which is the correct call by the Timberwolves. They found out that they could get Divincenzo, and they made the right move. Shout out to the Timberwolves, but it has not been working because Divincenzo wants to be a starter. They're not starting him. They're starting a lineup of Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert. Guess what? None of them can shoot the ball. Mike Conley can. Edwards kind of can, but he's not there to be a shooter. He's there to score the ball on all three levels. But it's kind of hard to do when your entire front court can't shoot. Minnesota, shockingly or unshockingly, has screwed everything up once again, and the New York Knicks are reaping the rewards from it as they have Karl Anthony Towns, who is playing some of the best basketball of his career, averaging 26 points per game, nearly 27 points per game, at 26.8 points per game, 12.3 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, while also shooting 55% from the field, and 50% from three. Karl Anthony Towns is an absolute superstar right now. He should be in the top 10 in the MVP ladder. The fact that he isn't is absolutely absurd. And the New York Knicks in general look like they have 2 all-star starters in Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, while Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert are getting sick of Julius Randle not being in the right place at the right time. And Julius, as great of a player as he is a very particular player who he has to fit on a certain team in order to have his top impact, and this team he does not fit on at all. This was a massively awful move by the Minnesota Timberwolves. That Donte Divincenzo's shooting, which should travel everywhere, has not. I do imagine they are going to make some deal that leads Dante going to the Lakers, because the Lakers are probably going to go the hardest for him. But the New York Knicks absolutely can make a move for him. Now, Leon Rose is great at finding loopholes. Him and Brock Gallagher have been great at it throughout Leon's time in New York. He's an agent. He knows how to find loopholes on both ends of things. And essentially, here's the loophole. At the deadline, the Knicks can make a 3-team trade. If Dante's in that 3-team trade, he could technically get traded to the other team in it, and then instantly get traded to the Knicks right after. And bing, bang, boom, what do you have? You have Donte Divincenzo back on the New York Knicks. Now, the Knicks have a lot of guards, and having Donte Divincenzo come off the bench might not make him happy, and it might not be for a long time. Maybe they say, hey, there's a little rental thing that we're going to do with you, then we'll flip you to a team where you could start on a successful team. And that's where you want to be. If that's where you want to be, we could absolutely hook you up with that. But right now, we need you for the playoff push, considering OG Anunoby has had injury concerns in the past. And we could always use a guy like Donte Divincenzo. Every team could. The Knicks have one in Josh Hart. They have another one in Mikal Bridges. And they also have a third one in Jalen Brunson. These Villanova guys play incredibly hard. Jay Wright taught them right. And now what we're seeing is a New York Knicks team that is just absolutely phenomenal. And I am loving every second of it. The Knicks are clicking on all cylinders while, well, the Timberwolves are not. And it's really funny to watch. And Karl-Anthony Towns is way better than literally anyone who was put in that trade. It's evidently clear now, and I find it hilariously funny, especially because I made this YouTube video. Now, the Knicks can absolutely make a trade to make it work. Here's exactly what the New York Knicks have to do. They have to trade Mitchell Robinson to the San Antonio Spurs for Donte DiVincenzo after the San Antonio Spurs trade Trey Jones and a protected first-round pick for Donte DiVincenzo. What do the Knicks do? The Knicks then give the Washington first-round pick to the Spurs for their trouble, and then look what happens. The Knicks got Donte DiVincenzo back. If my tone of voice sounds different, I'm frankly so tired, which is insane because it's 5:48 p.m. on a Friday. So I should be getting up and ready because this is being filmed directly before I do Knicks Digest Happy Hour, and hopefully I'm more hype on that. But we're going to see because this video is coming out after. It's coming out tonight, Friday, probably around 9 p.m., something like that. I'm probably going to post it soon after Happy Hour. Hope you guys enjoyed Happy Hour. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Y'all know the drill. Y'all know what it is. Have a great day, and go Knicks. If they do this, it's the funniest thing in my Knicks fandom history.